Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes second, third or fourth to the SP favourite in at least 2 races every day this month. Max £25 per race. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hi there. Welcome along to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley and James Hill in the studio. It's our last ever postcast from our Canary Wharf headquarters because we're moving to our swanky new office over the weekend. So there's no bells and whistles today, but hopefully tons of tips. Grab a pen and paper and we will take you through the most fantastic weekend of racing. Obviously, the jumps are back. The Charlie Hall is what a lot of us think of as the real start of the jump season, and we've got a superb race this year. There's also great stuff from Ascot, and if you love your American racing, the flat superstars of the world converge on Del Mar over on the West Coast for the Breeders' Cup. There's also 2 superb jumps races at Down Royal featuring some of the biggest names and potentially the 2018 Cheltenham Gold Cup winner. And for good measure on Sunday, we've got some really great stuff in Ireland and some decent horses who could go on and become stars are running at Huntingdon and Carlisle. So before we get into the tips, Paul Keeley, which meeting are you, if you could only look at one fixture over the weekend, which would it be?
Probably Ascot, because I've had a decent bet in one of them on a handicap chase.
James, what about you?
Yeah, Ascot as well for me. That's where my best bets are, so I'd probably go there more than anywhere.
If I was only looking at one race here, it would definitely be the Charlie Hall, and that is where we're going to start. 3:15 at Wetherby on Saturday. It's the 3-mile chase featuring 2 of our very favourite jump sources, plus some other absolute stars. So I'm going to be the Paddy Power representative as well. So Paddy Power bet 15-8 Coney Grieve, 5-2 Q Card, 8 Black Line, 8 Bristol Demite, 8 Definitely Red, 16 Village Vic, and 20-1 Bar. James Hill, we'll start with you. When I looked at the betting, and this is the first time I've seen it, I was surprised that Q Card isn't favourite. Are you?
Well, if you look at his runs previously in this race, he actually hasn't been at his best. He always tends to come on for his first run of the season. Now, it could be different this time because I gather he's had a racecourse outing at Wincanton, racecourse Gallop. So he might strip a bit fitter. But generally, he tends to come on for his first run of the season. Whereas Coney Gree is a horse that you can set your watch by. I mean, he runs the same race every time. He's so consistent. And he's better off at the weights, really, than Q Card is. So,
who wins it then?
Well, I'm not 15-8. I'm just not one to go for old favourites at these short prices. I know that sounds fairly heartless, but I like to go for younger, improving types. Bristol Demai, I was quite keen on him a few weeks ago when he was due to run at Stratford. He didn't, but he should be ready to go. The stable's in tremendous form, and now the rain is coming. I think I've got to have a few quid on him. I just think at 6 years old, he's too young to give up on.
Okay. Is the rain coming? What's happening with the weekend weather generally kills?
It's a disaster. Yeah, there's rain everywhere, basically. Most likely in the south, a lot of it for Ascot, which is worrying me a little bit because my horse doesn't want it that bad. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be soft at Wetherby. I fancy Q Card over Coney Gree, to be honest. Even with the £6, I think he's just a better horse. But he did get beaten under a £10 penalty last year. It's only a £6 penalty this year, but he also got beaten by a lower rated horse who also carried a £10 penalty. So, he does need to be better than he was first time up last year. I've had a few quid each way on Definitely Red, who does go very well fresh. Does really like Wetherby as well. He's got a fair bit to find on the form. But it's that time of year. You get funny results at this meeting year in, year out.
I remember last year, Tizard said that, did he say they didn't put him in the race too early? They made too much of him or something? They've made some sort of excuse that didn't quite ring true. And I was thinking, hang on a sec, is this also on the downgrade? And then he came and whizzed up at Haydock, didn't he?
Yeah, I think what he does need, without a shadow of a doubt now, is he needs soft ground. I mean, he was never travelling in the Gold Cup at all last year. I don't know why they're thinking about running him in the Ryanair. It'll be the same thing. I think it's the ground that is a massive issue for him now, and it must be soft. So he's got conditions this time, and he's likely to go very, very well. And if he's still as good as last year, then he'll win.
Okay, so the boys are taking on the front 2. James is going for Bristol Demai and Kills having a few quid each one. Definitely Red against the front 2. The first of the televised heats at Wetherby's the 2:05. It's the OLBG.com Mares Hurdle, and La Bague au Roi is the 10-11 favourite with Paddy Power. They also bet, hang on, I'm rubbish at this. Let's have a look. 11-2 Lady Buttons, 7-1 Miss Night Owl, 8-1 Giveaway Glance, 10 Late Night Lily, 16 Bar. We've got the flat 8 here, so do we take on the Fav with an each-way poke, or do we just lump on Kills?
I don't. I think she's a class above. She's a few pound ahead on the ratings. I think she's probably better than that as well. So I think she's quite a classy mare, and I think she'd take a hell of a lot of beating.
Okay, by the way, when I introduced the show, there were two things I forgot to say. We've got Ron Wood, who's one of the great judges on America. He's going to be coming on and give us some tips soon. But also, as a special bonus, because you're probably thinking, where's Frank Hickey? Frank's been away this week, but I did say to him, if you can send us over a tip or two, that would be great. He sent us 7, and one of them is in this. It's the La Bague au Roi. Said should prove tough to beat. Odds against, worth taking in this field. Paddy Power odds on at 10 to 11, but you might get some odds against. So that's the first of Frank's tips. What do you think will happen here, James?
I have to agree with Frank and Keels. I think she'll take all the beating. I mean, if it wasn't for the rain arriving, she'd be an absolute certainty, really. She's just a class above the rest. And there's some evidence on her reading on the dam side that she'll handle this softer ground. So, yeah, class above the rest, I think she'll land the odds.
Jolly good. 3 votes then for La Bague au Roi in the 205. In the 240, the Bet365 hurdle, better known as the West Yorkshire hurdle, Lil Rockefeller is the favourite at 5 to 4 with Paddy Power. We've got good old Petit Zig at 3 to 1, Holstone at 4 to 1, 10 Fountains, Windfall, 14 Spa. James, you go first.
Well, Lil Rockefeller's dead consistent, but I do think over this trip, certainly he's better on better ground, so he won't like the forecast rain. Just some of the outsiders looked interesting here, in particular Gabry. Young improving horse. He had some really good form last year. He was second behind Willoughby Court at Warwick. He also had a horse called Peregrine run behind him who's got fairly close form with that horse of Twiston Davis's in the race, who is fairly closely matched on form with Gabry, and Gabry's a much bigger price. And he also won a qualifier, Pertemps qualifier at Chepstow, beating Jury Duty. And Jury Duty went on to finish 3rd in the Pertemps final itself. And Gabry didn't run that well in the Pertemps final, but otherwise he's got a pretty consistent and progressive profile. Stays well, and he will like the ground.
6-7 runners is no good to us though, James, is it?
It's a bit annoying, but yeah, I still think he's worth a bit each way, with the favourite being so short.
Jolly good. Kills, what do you reckon?
Yeah, well, again, it's another one. It's this time of year, isn't it? You don't know whether horses are going to be fit and whatever. But if you want to know what these lot have got up against with Little Rockefeller, the top 3, Fountains, Windfall, Holstone, and Gabry are, according to Racing Post ratings, they have £23 to find, which is a hell of a lot. You remember, he's getting weight. He's rated 164. They're rated in the mid to high 140s. The only thing with Little Rockefeller, he doesn't actually win very often. He's obviously second in the Stayers hurdle to what was the name of that thing? The thing that I always back.
Nichols Canyon.
Yeah, good old Nichols, yeah.
No, I backed for the champion
I
hurdle.
don't know, I forgot that because it saved my festival.
Backed that for the champion hurdle last year this time. So I think he'd take a world of beating. The only one that I can see really beating is Petit Zig. Now, he does go well fresh. He's been a very in and out horse over the last few seasons, but he has got some really serious form to his name. Obviously, he won a French champion hurdle last year. For me, it's those two. They've got so much in hand. Unless something improves dramatically, it's got to be one of them two.
Which one then?
I'm going to say Petit Zig because I just think he wins more often.
Righty-ho, let's go to Ascot. 4 races there on ITV4, starting with the 150. It's 2 mile 3 furlongs, the Ascot Underwriting Chase. A novices limited handicap. We don't have any prices yet from Paddy Power. There are 8 runners. Which of them will cross the line in front, Paul?
Well, hopefully Benatar. He would have been an absolute certainty if he hadn't run in a Grade 1 hurdle at Aintree on his final start last year, and he finished a fairly distant 4th there, but went up £12 for it. Otherwise, he'd be running off 130 here. But he's got fences written all over him. He's going to make a decent chaser for Gary Moore, I think. He got his work cut out of 142 against a couple who could be well handicapped, but I do like him. I think he's going to be a progressive horse this year, so I'll go with him. It'll probably be a fair price. The other one that interested me, if it doesn't get too soft, is Copane de Classe of Paul Nicholls. He said last year this is a horse for fences in the autumn, but he got absolutely battered on heavy ground earlier last season, and he won't want the ground going too soft.
James Hill.
Oh, I'd have to agree with Keels. I'm really looking forward to seeing Benatar go over fences. Definitely looks chaser. The forecast rain that's coming will be good for him. And he's gone well fresh in the past before. So, yeah, he'd have to be my selection there.
I tell you, it's a real sod, isn't it? When you don't, you're waiting on the weather. You're having to trust the weather forecaster, Kills, aren't you? Because they don't always get it right by any means, do they? But we're pretty confident there's a ton of rain coming.
No, all the satellite images I looked on the Met Office. They're showing absolutely loads of it, and it's it's going to be around for hours and hours, which is annoying. Now that wasn't on the radar earlier in the week. So Ascot watered. They watered the whole course twice at the beginning of the week. Then they got the forecast and they said they wouldn't water anymore. The going stick does suggest it is as they say it is good to firm in places. So hopefully it won't get any worse than good to soft. But if it does, some of mine might not go so well.
225 is the Burn Group handicap chase over 2 miles and a furlong. Wide open, Paddy Power bet 9-2 Maracuja, 5 Quite by Chance, 6 Calypto, 6 Thayan Val, 7 Max Ward, 10-1 Sunshine, 10 Speradec, 12-1 Little Pop, 14s. Bar, we've got about 10 runners, so there's an each way element angle to this one. James, you go first.
Well, with the ground being watered and the rain coming, this could be the moment we see Venetia Williams pop up for the first time this season. I mean, she's had a few runners already, but this tends to be the meeting where she brings out her big guns, and she's actually won this race 3 times before. Her Calypto looks interesting to me. He's a horse who's well treated on some of his best hurdles form. He ran very well first time up last year in the Grand Annual. Also, a couple of seasons back, he ran well when fresh in the Betfair hurdle. So he goes well fresh. Brian Cooper looks at an interesting booking. So if his jumping holds up, I think he could go well.
Calypto for James. Who for you, Paul Keeley?
Yeah, it's funny. He was one of the first ones I looked at earlier in the week. But when I saw the weather forecast, I thought that she might not run him. I mean, she's had a second and a third in this race, as well as those 3 winners in the last 8 or 9 years. So you've got to pay attention to that. And it's the same ownership as Cold March, who won the race in 2015. The one I put up in the weekend, there was Some Sheen, who is trained by Seamus Mullins, therefore less fashionable yard, you get a fair price. But if you look at some of his form, it is rock solid. He was 14-1 shot when he won a soft ground race at Hereford in March, and next time out he ran at Ayr in a listed race on the Scottish National Day. He was third to Vaniter. He was beaten 5 lengths, but only a short head in front of him was Remain de Senham, who has gone up £12 since for winning twice this year. Now, Sumshine's a 9-year-old going on 10, so he won't have that £12 of improvement that Remain de Senham has in him, but he might still be well enough handicapped to play a hand.
It'd be nice to see Andrew Thornton boot home a Saturday TV winner, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure he won't be getting many more. He's got to be packing it up soon, hasn't he? He's gone past 1,000, but he's cracking on.
He's not far off your age, is he, Kills? 3 o'clock at Ascot, the William Hill Handicap Hurdle. Listed race over 1 mile, 7.5 furlongs. Still looks weird, doesn't it, when you see jumps racing taking place over less than 2 miles. And one of Frank's tips runs here. He said he thought it was very interesting that Verdana Blue was skipping the listed mares race in Wetherby for this. A mark of 136 could be very fair. He's going to chance her each way. Now, Paddy Power bet 4 Jenkins, 6 Elgin, 7 Frank's tip, Verdana Blue, 8-1 Airhorse 1, 8-1 Dolos, 10-1 Cade de Lynn, and 12-1 Bar. Kills, you go first.
Yeah, well, Frank could have spotted the old smoke screen there, couldn't he? Because obviously Nicky Henderson had Jenkins in, who was a much shorter price favourite earlier in the week. He was 11 to floor in a couple of places. He's 4-1 now. I think he was favourite just about for the Supreme at the start of last season. He won very easily at Newby, but he looked really clumsy then when he won. And then when he ran at Kempton next time, he just could not jump to save his life. He got beat at odds on. He won at odds on his final start, in a small meeting, but again made a real meal of it. But the jockey then said that he seemed to be gulping for air, so you can bet he's had a breathing problem. But since then, obviously, he's drifted. Verdana Blue has halved in price since Monday, so you wonder whether that's the Henderson one that's really fancied. I quite look at Harry Fry's Air Horse 1. He's got some decent form to his name. He was third and fourth in the county hurdle, not beaten far by Arctic Fire. Won a race over this course over a little bit further on soft ground in February. And just looks to be progressing. Now, a lot of Harry Fry's have needed a run, but I think this race is valuable enough for him to have got it straight. So,
okay, right, so Kills is going for Air Horse 1. James, what's your view of this one?
Well, when I first looked at the race, one of the horses that stuck out to me was Elgin, and I think I'm still going to side with him. I think some of his form from last season in the novice contest is really, really good. He was second to some really good types, and he's got good form on softish ground as well. And Alan King won this a few years back with a horse carrying a lot of weight, Rare Star. So he could well do it again here. My one concern is he does race quite keenly, and for that reason sometimes doesn't finish the strongest. But if he can just settle a bit better, he's got to have strong each-way claims, I'd say.
Jolly good. Let's move on to the feature at Ascot, 3:35. It's the Sodexo Gold Cup. 18 runners, a 3-mile handicap chase, a rattling good betting heat. Paddy Power bet 6 Go Conquer, 7-1 Braqueur d'Or, 7-1 Dark Flame, 9-1 Thomas Brown, 10-1 Anthony and Emerging Force, and 14-1 Bar. Frank Hickey says Thomas Brown has won first time out past 3 seasons, and he's only a pound higher than Aintree win last season. Think Ascot is a track that suits, and he should go well at an each-way price. So Frank Hickey goes for Thomas Brown. James Hill goes for
Emerging Force.
So there's a bit of confidence in your voice here, James.
That is one I would be very hopeful about. I mean, he's got a lot going for him, I think. Goes well fresh. There was one bit of form last season which looks really good now. He was fourth behind some really nice types at Cheltenham, including Single Farm Payment. I mean, all the 3 horses who finished just in front of him that day, they're all rated at least 145 or more, some even in the 150s. I mean, he's only on 139. And he's a really good jumper. I actually think the rain might help him a bit, because if there's one slight negative about him, he doesn't really have a change of pace or anything. He jumps and gallops. I think he's well treated and he should be ready to go.
Aye. James is going to be smashing up Emerging Force. Kills, what do you like?
I don't know. This was my "this will not be beaten" moment until the forecast rain. I'm still going to go with it though. If the ground was good, I thought Dark Flame was an absolute certainty. I really did. He's got some terrific form early last season. He beat first time out last season, first time over fences. He beat more bucks at Sandown. He absolutely destroyed him. Just canted clear, won by 8 lengths. The runner-up won twice next time. Won twice on next 2 starts. Next time out, Dark Flame finished third. Sorry, in a 2-mile 3 furlong handicap chase. Here in a field of 15, went off favourite. The winner went up £8, bolted up again, went up another £10. The second is £8 higher now than it was then. The third is £9 higher now than it was then. Dark Flame is £2 lower. He ran 3 times since, twice on soft and heavy ground, which he doesn't really like. And then once back at Ascot, where I thought he did really, really well not to go up, because he was second to present man over 2-mile 5, and he was only beaten a length and 3/4, and he was badly off in the weights that day. And he's just been left alone on an official mark of 133. He is absolutely crying out for 3 miles. There's so much stamina in the family. Actually, some guy on Twitter actually contacted me. He said, he's from the family of Exmoor Ranger, who won this race in 2011. When he gets 3 miles, every time he runs, he just looks like he wants to go further.
Is there a proviso that if it absolutely chucks it down?
Soft ground. I mean, his 2 wins have been on good to soft ground. He handles it good soft. I mean, if it goes soft, I would be worried. I have to say that, but as long as it's not that bad, if it's good to soft, I wouldn't be worried. I think he'll win. I think he'll go very, very close.
Sound very confident there, Kills. Okay, time to find out who's won the free bet. On Monday, we asked who is favourite with Paddy Power for next year's Investec Derby. The answer, of course, is the Racing Post Trophy winner, Saxon Warrior even, and congratulations to Simon Kinsey from South Wales, who doesn't have to worry about where his betting money is coming from this weekend, because a free £25 bet from Paddy Power is winging its way into his account. Well done, Simon. Another chance to win in Monday's show.
Check out Paddy's new VIPP Club. Get a £10 free bet every week when you place 5 bets of £10 or more. Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shops. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Okay, let's get across to Down Royal, their big meeting of the year. Of course, we always love this November fixture. Remember Corto Stargun over there and dazzling a packed Irish crowd. This year we've got 2 fantastic races. We'll start with the 2:30. It's the jnwine.com Champion Chase. 3 miles. And we've got some of the hottest prospects in Irish jump racing running today, not least, of course, our Duke, who is the 4-5 favourite with Paddy Power. 7-2 Road to Respect, 10-1 More of That, 10-1 Sub Lieutenant, 12-1 Alpha des Obeaux, 20-1 Zabana, 25-1 Carlingford Lock, and 25-1 Outlander. What more could you have? 8 fantastic jumpers, each way potential. Who's going to win this, Kills?
Well, the first thing I say is that our Duke is obviously the most likely of these to go on and win a Gold Cup. He looked really good last year. He isn't anywhere near as far clear on the figures as the betting suggested he was. There is an awful lot of improvement built into those odds that make him odds on. I think he might well win, but I mean, I think first time out, it's just one of those races you've got to take him on. And with Sub-Lieutenant having had a run, having finished third last month at Punchestown, not beaten far behind Road to Respect, who does tend to run his races best first time out. I think Sub-Lieutenant at 10-1 is a fair each way price if the 8 go.
Yeah, that was my opinion. I mean, not that it matters compared to yours. Obviously, I'm a rubbish judge, but I mean, he looks very hard to keep out the threes, but might not win. You might expect one or two to beat him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could easily see one or two to beat him, but I don't see an awful lot of improvement coming from Road to Respect. Because he is a horse that is, the trainer said he takes no work at all, so he'll have been pretty straight. And Sub-Lieutenant would probably have needed a bit more. He was only beating 5.5 lengths, 6 lengths, or whatever, and he's 3 times the price. Now, part of me hopes that our Duke's the real deal, but I don't think he's an odds-on shot first time out.
If you were having a bet for the Gold Cup now, who would it be on, Kills?
Fox Norton, 50-1.
But I thought he said the other day that he might just be a speedy 2-mile chaser.
Yeah, but he won going away 2.5 miles at Aintree, didn't he? And after that he said, he might be a King George horse, And if he runs in the King George and say wins it, or proves that he stays there, they're gonna have some thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like, we want, nothing wrong with a Ryanair, but who wants to win a Ryanair if you can win a Gold Cup?
I wouldn't mind winning a Ryanair. James, first question to you is who would you back for the Gold Cup now? And second, who's going to win the jnwine.com champion chase?
Well, Gold Cup, I'm a big Mike Bite fan. For the horse to follow for the season, actually, I'm a big Mike Bite fan. I think he can win the King George too. I was just so impressed with his victory in the RSA, and providing we get another winter and spring where the ground doesn't get too soft. I think he's very exciting indeed. I also think our Duke's very exciting. So I think I'd have to side with him here. I mean, Keels is right. He's on the figures. He's actually not that far clear. But I just don't really fancy much of the opposition. Road to Respect is a good young horse, but he's going to need to improve on that performance from last time. I know he won, but it wasn't a very good race in my opinion. And the others are just a bit of a much of a muchness. I mean, they have their days when they're good, but a lot of them, I would say, are past their best, whereas our Duke is very much an improving young horse, and I was just very impressed with his victory in the Irish National. I think you've got to stick with him here.
Splendid. The 3:05 at Down Royal is the 2 mile, 3.5 furlong mycarneeds.com chase. And Disco heads the market with Paddy Power. He's 11-8. We've got 4-1 Atois Phil, 11-2 Annibale Fly. Baliasheen is 6-1, Balco de Flo is 9-1, Bulldark 12-1, 25-1 Never Russia Con, and 40-1 Tout et Permis. So Disco, a horse who I thought last year, Kills, probably wasn't getting the recognition he deserves, heads the market here. Worthy Fav?
No, I don't think he is actually. He's obviously very decent, but he runs the same sort of figures the last 4 starts that he's run. They're not, they're not outstanding. If you look at Racing Post ratings, he's not even top. So again, I think this is quite a tight little race. I like Atois Phil because he keeps winning. You know what I mean? He's got the winning habit, and he keeps improving and improving. But I thought that Baliasheen won really, really well last time, and I can't believe it's 6-1 on the field like this.
Okay, Baliasheen for Kills. James Hill, what's your selection?
Yeah, it's a tight race. Not much between them at all. I'm not sure Disco should be a favourite, really. He's consistent, but no more than that. I'm a big fan of Balco de Flo. I backed him to win the Galway Plate. I thought he put up an eye-catching run until he fell at Cheltenham in the JLT. I mean, this isn't a handicap. It's more of an intermediate race, but I still think he's a horse that could give a good show here. And the price you just mentioned, I think that's fair each way value.
Okay, right, we're going to get all the rest of the UK and Ireland fancies from the lads in a bit. But first, we're going to turn our attention to the Breeders' Cup, which takes place at Del Mar in beautiful San Diego. And here is our American racing expert, Ron Wood, with his big race tips from California for both Friday and Saturday.
Oh yes, I've been in California for a few days now, and finally it all gets going today. Just the 4 Breeders' Cup races on the Friday. 2 of these are really tricky juvenile turf races. Plenty of European interest in those ones. But today's nap for me goes in the Distaff, which is off at 11:35 p.m. UK time. I'm with Paradise Woods. To be honest, this is a tricky day for a nap, a tricky card. Get my excuses in early, but I do like this filly. She's very fast, very talented filly. If she's in front by the first bend, that's her game plan basically. Get to the front and let the others try and peg her back. If she does make the lead, I think she'll be hard to run down. On Saturday, well, that's when it really gets going. Doubtless there'll be plenty of attention on Churchill in the Classic. I can't entertain this horse on dirt. Surely he's just a turf horse. He is a good turf horse, but this is a red-hot dirt race. This doesn't go off until 12:35 a.m. UK time. Definitely worth staying up for, though. I'm with Arrogate, the defending champion. He lost the plot when he came back from Dubai, but I was lucky enough to see him at Santa Anita over the weekend, and he's back in great form. He might take a little while to warm up in the race. That's just become the way he goes through his races as he's got older. But when he does find his stride, he's pretty relentless. He did a 7 furlong work at Santa Anita the other day. Well, it's officially 7 furlongs, and he basically covered 9 furlongs. He just keeps going once he finds his stride, so I'm hoping he'll run them down, and I do think he will. One other race to touch on quickly is the Turf on the Saturday, which goes off at 11:37 p.m. Highland Reel and Ulysses are the headline horses here, but I'm with Seventh Heaven and Cliffs of Moher, the 2nd and 3rd string for Aidan O'Brien. I know I'm taking 2 against the field here, but they are decent prices, and I can't really split them. They've both got so much in their favour. And don't forget Highland Reel himself. He was 2nd string when he won this last year for Aidan O'Brien. Shamie Heffernan rode Highland Reel then, and this time Shamie Heffernan rides Seventh Heaven, and this race looks made for her.
Okay, chaps. How many Breeders' Cup tips do you want to give me, Keels?
Am I allowed to go none?
Yep. James?
I've only had one bet in the Breeders' Cup, which is actually more than most for me most years. I backed Rhododendron in the filly and mare Turf. I just think she's got a really nice profile for the Breeders' Cup. I mean, she hasn't had a hard season, but when she has run, some of her form has been really good. 2nd to Winter in the Guineas, 2nd to Enable in the Oaks, and of course she beat Hydrangea last time. That form's been franked. The Americans have got this Lady Eli, who was narrowly beaten in the race last year. I think this sharper track might suit her a bit better, but I still would prefer to side with Rhododendron at the prices. So
I'm not going to let you off the hook, Keels, because you're going to be drunk watching the Breeders' Cup. You're going to be having bets. So if you had to back one horse now, who would it be?
If I had to back one horse, because the ground's going to be lightning fast, I think Lancaster Bomber might be a bigger price than he should be in the mile, because he wants fast ground and he just hasn't had it for ages.
Okay, let's get everyone's roundups then. So the horses that we think are going to run well on Saturday that aren't the nap. Paul Keeley, how many have you got?
Right, yeah, a couple. Right, we'll go to Newmarket first of all. If there ain't too much rain, Sparkplug, we might need this extra furlong now, 1 mile, 2 furlong. He just got going far too late last time. That's in, hang on, I've got something bashed up on WhatsApp. It hasn't told me what time the bloody race is. Can't go away, that's it. 2:55 at Newmarket. And in the next race, now one of my favourite horses, Lord Glitter, steps up to listed class. As long as he's okay on the ground, I'm sure he's a Group 1 horse of the future. And he'll win. And then we've got to go to Air. Let me find Air. There's one. Sorry. I've got to find the bloody thing. So I'll work this, isn't it?
Which race do you think it is?
I can't remember. Right. It's called Gassing Golf, Air 320. Loves a bit of heavy ground. It's quite a decent prize for this. Kerry Lee sent them all the way up to Air. Tumbled down the handicap last year, but ran okay in second, first time out. Got second to a horse called Remeluk, who won again off a £14 high mark later in the season. Only 8 years old, probably a couple of interesting horses against him, younger types, but he goes well on the ground, and if he's ready, he's the best handicapped in the race.
You done?
Yep.
James?
Well, the few that I had at Wetherby and Ascot at the 5-day stage sadly haven't been declared, which is very annoying. But like Keels at Newmarket, I think you've got to be all over Lord Glitters again, especially now the rain's forecast. He'll probably be a shortish price, but he's one to do in your doubles and trebles and stuff. He looked a group horse when he won that Balmoral on Champions Day.
Okay, that's Lord Glitters in the 3:30, and as luck would have it, he's also in Frank's round. So this is me doing Frank Hickey's horses. Okay, so if you're seeing me doing tips and thinking I don't care what he thinks, these are actually from Frank Hickey. So can't wait to see Lord Glitters again. Was very impressive in the Balmoral at Ascot, and looks a group horse in the making. Lord Glitters, all three of the lads fancy that one in the 3:30 at Newmarket. Right, we're going to go to Wetherby, the 12:55. Very interested in Kalashnikov if he's strong in the market. He won his bumper here in nice fashion this time last year, and Amy Murphy's fairly shrewd. Could be a nice each-way price. He's already done La Bague au Roi. Frank fancies one in the 12:45 at Down Royal. He says it'll take a very good one to beat Espoir d'Aline, who was very impressive on its Irish debut. And one more from Frank, the 1:15 at Ascot, with pleasure each way. In good form on flat recently, rated 171, returns to hurdles on a mark of 105, so could be very well treated. Right then, let's get the naps. And lads, it's singing time. Keels, do you want to go first?
Yeah, Dark Flame.
No. You got to sing it.
Oh, right. This will not be beaten.
Much better than Henry Hardwick and Mark Langdon did on the football postcast here. See, James, sing away.
This will not be beaten.
Oh, that was lovely, wasn't it? A lovely baritone. Right. This will not be beaten. James, I think you win. That is a very, very good rendition. Do you sing recreationally in a choir or anything?
I did once and never again. I think
you're a waste.
Out of tune.
You're a wasted talent. Right, Paul Keeley, the nap is?
Yeah, Dark Flame, 3:35 Ascot.
Okay, and James, what's your nap?
Against Keels, Merging Force in the 3:35 at Ascot.
Okay, thank you, chaps. Let's look at Sunday next.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes second, third or fourth to the SP favourite in at least 2 races every day this month. Max £25 per race. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Hi there, it's Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley and James Hill looking ahead to Sunday's action. We've got some really good cards. Let me tell you what's on. At Nace, there is some good flat fare there, including the November handicap. Cork has got the Cork Grand National, and then the UK cards, we've got Huntingdon, which features a very exciting horse in Willoughby Court, and there's a race at Carlisle that quite often throws up some really serious clues for the rest of the season in terms of the top level 3-mile chasers. So, Kills, where do you want to start? I'm not going to go through them race by race. I'm just going to ask you what you fancy on Sunday.
Right, okay, a couple at Carlisle. We will start with... do you have to find them again? Right, yeah. We'll start with a 2:30. Top weight, Chef d'Oeuvre, absolutely bolted up in a race at Hereford on bad ground last year, and he was running in... He went on favourite for a listed handicap chase next time, didn't come anywhere, and then blew out. So he fell then, and then he blew out on his last start. But he got such a high racing post rating for that Hereford win that he has to be well handicapped off a mark of 130. So with Warren Great just takes him up there, Richard Johnson taking the ride, you've got to be interested in that. And in where are you? This must be before it.
Is it the Colin Parker?
No, it's not the Colin Parker. It's not enough. No, there's a horse called Cooking Fat, who had a decent battle when it won a Catchick last year, off a mark of 125, and he went up to 132. He ran some decent races over hurdles, and he ran in his first ever chase, finished a fair second, only got beaten a length. He's got dropped £7 for that. He's back to 125, running a novice handicap chase on softer ground than last time, softer ground that he absolutely loves. He stays further than 2 mile 4, so we'll get up that hill at Carlisle. I think he's got a great chance. We talk about the 2 big races at the big tracks. The Paddy Power Cork Grand National. Racing Pulse has been doing the rounds. He was with John Quinn. He was rated really, really highly by John Quinn. This is a potential, grade 1 winner. He then moved on to Rebecca Curtis. He then went to Richard Hobson. And from having looked at Superstar, he's just gone to bits. But he's gone to Willie Mullins. And he's now rated 121, having been as high as the 140s. It doesn't take a genius to work out that he's extremely well handicapped with the Mullins Magic Works, which is why he's 11-4. It's one of those you think, it's far too short on what it's done, but you know that Ruby Walsh is just going to be sitting there and cantering home, and I think he probably will. And then we go to the November handicap at Nace. What time is that?
Before you do that, I'm just going to read out a quick show on the Cork Grand National from Paddy Power, who sponsors the race. 11-4 Racing Pulse, which is Kills' tip. 5-1 Arc Wrist, 13-2 King's Song, 7-1 a sizing network, 7-1 what you doing to me, and 16 bar. So sorry, Kills, we're now over at Nace for the 3:30, which is the no, we're not. We're looking at the 3 o'clock, aren't we, Kills? Yeah. Okay, who'd you fancy?
The Nace November Handicap, which was run in October last year, but it is actually the November Handicap. Horse here, favourite, Wonder Lace. Now with Charles Burns, he dead heated with Duretto as a 3-year-old in a really valuable handicap at Ascot when Duretto was rated 85. He's like 111 now. And he then went on the missing list. He was with William Haggerstein. He's come back with Charles Burns. He bolted up last time out. He's £7 higher now. He's obviously got a great chance. But I just have this soft spot for Tudor City, where I keep backing each way in big fields, and he invariably gets placed or goes very close. And I'll do it again because he has a double-figure price.
Okay, Paddy Power go 5-1 Wonder Lace, 5-2, 7-1 Lord Erskine. God, I used to sit and watch these bookies PRs reading it out and think, is that all you do for your 100 grand here? It's actually quite difficult. 10 Swamp Fox, 12 Grand Partner, 12 Gustavus Vassar, 12 to Share the Honour, 12-1 Song of Namibia, and finally we got there 12-1 Kills His Fancy Tudor City. Okay, James, what have you got for us on Sunday?
I've got one from Britain and one from Ireland. Go to Carlisle in Britain for the 3:05. That is West End Story, Philip Hobbs's runner, down at the bottom of the weights. I think very well handicapped. He was 5th in the champion bumper of a couple of years ago, and last season, first time up, he finished 3rd in a pretty hot maiden behind Willoughby Court. Some of those runners actually in behind him that day are now rated higher than he is now. Things didn't go really that great for him after that. He was brought down when he was an odds-on favourite. But he's got a lightweight in a Class 2 handicap of about a 124 mark. And if he can get back to his best form, he's got to be thrown in then, I think.
And what's the other one?
So the one in Ireland is automated in the November handicap. That's the 3 o'clock at Nace. I've actually fancied him to win the Irish Cesaro, which he got pulled out of the race on the morning of the race when coming out a bit lame. But he's well rated, I think, on about 83. And he was rated as high as 142 over hurdles. He'll love the ground. And I've always felt he's got a touch of class when at his best, so I can see him going well in that race.
Thank you, James. Let's talk about the star of the show at Huntingdon very quickly, Kills. The 250, it's the Premier League betting at 188.com novice chase. 5 runners. Willoughby Court is going to be obviously a very hot favourite. What can he go on to achieve this season? Do you like him?
Yeah, pretty much anything. I liked him last year, and I can't believe I forgot about him. I just thought the ground would be probably too fast for him at Cheltenham, and I let him go on back to a decent price, but he absolutely bolted in the time before at Warwick, didn't he, on soft ground? So he's very versatile. He looks an out-and-out chaser in the making, and he could be top class. Fingers crossed. He'll need to have run a fair level first time out to beat the unit, who has got some decent forms, rated 142. But he's going to be short, and let's just hope he wins.
Okay, I'm not going to let you go without finally a tip for the 4 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. The race that stops a nation. It's the Emirates Melbourne Cup. Paddy Power bet 11-2 Almandin, ridden by Frankie Dettori. 8-1 Humidor. 8-1 Hugh Morrison's Marmello. 10-1 Jonas Vermeer for Aidan O'Brien. 10-1 the German horse Red Cardinal. 10-1 Wall of Fire. 12-1 Thomas Hobson. 14-1 Max Dynamite. 14 Rekindling. 20-1 Bar. James, have you had much of a look at the Melbourne Cup yet?
Not a deep look at it. I'm just looking forward to seeing how well Marmello goes. I mean, he's always looked a progressive type to me. Very impressive when he won at Deauville earlier in the season. Whether he'll stay, I'm not sure. But I mean, he looks to have been really targeted at this race, and I'm excited to see how he'll go.
Kills, have you managed to frantically find one?
I mean, I'd love to see Nikita win it because I backed him loads of times apart from when he won the Ebor.
Will you wake up for it?
What was the one? No, doubt it. Well, I'll probably be up for it. No, I mean, the dog will get me up. What was the one Lester Piggott tipped the other day? Was that Tiberian? I can't remember.
Could have been, yeah.
Well, let's go with that. He knows far more about it than I do.
All right, fair enough. Okay, Lester Piggott, a tip from him. I wasn't expecting that. Well done, chaps. Thank you very much. Weekend plans, James, what have you got on?
So tomorrow I'm working for the final time here in our offices. And, I've got Sunday off when I'm actually going to be moving house.
So you're moving offices and house the same weekend? No way.
All the next 3 days. I'm going to be staying in Royston with a friend for the next few months while my flat's getting done up a bit. So.
Oh, where are you moving to?
Royston.
Oh, Royston in Hearts. Okay, fair enough. Keels, what are you going to be doing this weekend?
Well, I'm live tips tomorrow, so I do my best to find some winners.
What's the email question for people who want to email and get their questions into you?
What's the question? What's the email?
What's the email address?
Yeah. It's racedaylive@racingpost.com. We get quite a few emails in nowadays.
Abusive or nice?
You get some abuse. It's quite funny actually because when Tom Collins was on the other day, some bloke emailed in and just said how crap Paul Keeley is. How did they back this horse down to favourite? Knew it would be rubbish. And then when I was on the other day, he emailed me a polite email asking me what I thought about a particular horse. I just thought it was quite funny. And I actually, he asked me if I owned horses, and I actually said, well, given you think I'm the worst tipster in the world, you probably know the reason why I don't.
So working Saturday.
Yeah. Sunday I don't seem to have many plans on, but the missus is working, which means I've probably got to tidy up the house.
Really, I thought you were quite sort of old school, unreconstructed man.
No. I do plenty of work. She does a lot of hours, so you've got to do it.
Do you hoover and iron?
I don't iron. I mean, if I iron anything, she has to do it again anyway. So it's pretty pointless. There are things that I'm just completely useless at, which is most things around the house, to be honest. But I will do my bit. And I'm on holiday next week, so I'm not going anywhere, but I've got loads of golf planned as long as the weather stays fine.
Okay, so we'll see you back on the Postcast 2 weeks' time, will we?
Yeah, that is Bet Victor Gold Cup Day, Cheltenham.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, James, thank you. James, thank you. Paul, thank you very much for tuning in. If you do like us, don't forget to rate, review and subscribe on iTunes. Maddie and the gang are back on Monday. We're back next Friday. Looking ahead to, what have we got? What's the highlight? We've got the November handicap, haven't we?
Elite Hurdle Win Camp.
Oh, the Badger, yeah. Well, there you go. Excellent stuff. So plenty there. Do join us next week.
Check out Paddy's new VIPP Club. Get a £10 free bet every week when you place 5 bets of £10 or more. Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shops. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.